Welcome to Processing Market Recovery Request tutorial for Market Recovery Administrators. One of the most important tasks of an administrator is to manage all of the market recovery requests that come into the system and get submitted by the contractors. Administrators can also submit requests on behalf of the contractor simply by locating a certain contractor in the Contractors tab, select it, and proceed to Create button in the Request section to enter the information necessary for new market recovery request. However, in most cases, contractors will have the web portal access where they would be able to log in and submit the request to the system by themselves. Regardless, all new requests go into the dashboard of the market recovery system and can be seen by going to the Request tab, Apply Requested filter to see all of the most recent and new requests. You will then go into the details of each request and make a decision to commit or deny the request based on the information provided. The first or the top portion of the request displays the budget information as configured in the settings. For more information about setting up and working with the budget, please refer to support or other video tutorials. The second part of the request is the contractor information. Top left, we can see the contractor's details. It's important to check the contractor's email in this section. If it doesn't exist, you will then have to input their email address. It's very important as their email address is used to send out notifications about the status of the request and other relevant information used in the system. In order to specify their email, if there isn't any, go to the Contractors section, select the contractor, click Edit button, and input their email address to their profile. Then be sure to specify their email address as primary since it will be used to send request notifications to. To the right of the contractor's information, we find the details of the request, current status of the request, and the person who made the request submission, along with their contact information. More than one person can be linked to a certain contractor and all can submit requests on behalf of their contractor. However, all request notifications will go to the email address that is specified as primary. Then we find project information such as details of the project's name, address, classification, and a bid date. Expiration date is configured in the settings and could be set from the commitment date or the bid date certain number of days in advance. For more information about it, please contact Union Impact Support. On the right, we have the owner information, bidding information, and finally, down below, we can see the request. This section will also contain information such as requested hours, if any, submitted hours by the contractor, and other bidders' information. Currently, this request status is requested. This program manages number of other statuses. Let's go over all. Each newly submitted request is considered requested, meaning it has been submitted by the contractor and is pending administrator's review. Once the administrator makes a decision to either commit funds if the contractor wins the bid or deny the request. Whichever the case may be, the request receives a status of committed or denied. Denial requires no further actions by the contractor other than simply to resubmit the request. Then there is awarded status. Contractor that has won the job, and at this stage they can submit hours as the job gets performed and ask for reimbursement. Suspended is the status that the administrator can enable any time to the committed or awarded projects. Suspended status will not allow the contractor to submit hours or any other request to the project until it becomes unsuspended. Then there is a lost status, which simply means the commitment was made by the administrator. However, the contractor did not win the bid. Last but not least, last two statuses are holding and completed. Holding status means the contractor submitted all hours and the project is completed. It's now pending administrator's review and validation of the completion. Once the administrator makes final review, they can change the status to completed. One important note to remember: in holding or awarded status, hours can be submitted, paid off, and managed. In the completed status, there can be no more hours submitted, paid off, or managed. Now let's go into a request and make a decision as to whether we are going to commit or deny the request. When denying, let's specify the reason and mark it denied. Contractor's primary email address will then receive denial notification with the reason specified. Contractor can also log in through the web portal and find the status of the request changed to denied. Let's go ahead and change the status of this request to committed. We simply press the Commit button in the Commitment section, and from here we can see the hours requested. These can be modified, simply change to more or less hours to a specific scope of work. We can also specify a rate of each scope of work. The system will do the math and generate the total result. If there is a journeyman-apprentice ratio tracking enabled, we can then specify that as well, and any other notes that we want the contractor to receive. When done with the completion process, we click Next and the system will cross-reference the commitment with the budget. If the commitment is going to exceed the budget, the system will display a warning message which we can override. Next step, we must validate the location of the project. It's not uncommon for more than one request to be submitted to a single project. If it's the first project and there is no other request submitted to a specific project, simply click Create and the system will create a new project that will be linked to this request. Now, let's say there is already a request submitted by a different contractor to the same project we are submitting a request to. In this case, we'll find a house pop-up icon on a map relative to the location of the project. Click on the house icon, and now we'll be able to link the second request to the project already in the system. Multiple requests can be linked and tracked to the single project. Let's proceed to create the request, and the project status will now be changed to committed. Associated contractor will be automatically notified of the commitment notice with all other details. Finally, based on the bid outcome, contractor will now be able to mark the request awarded or lost.